Minister, there has been a phenomenal over 5 applications for every place on the pilot environmental scheme, even with the restricted access to the scheme and the poor financial return. It clearly shows the demand that is there from farmers for more sustainable farming models, but this must pay farmers directly for carbon reductions.
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
Yeah, thank you very much, Deputy Naughton, for the question. And as you know, in the budget I secured an additional €79 million, including €23 million from the Carbon Tax Fund for this year's budget to support actions in the area of biodiversity, climate, environment and farm health and safety, and importantly, supporting farm incomes. And this, one of the key measures as part of this, Deputy Naughton, is the new results-based agri-environmental scheme. I have to say, I do believe it is, while it is small, but while it is small, it is innovative, it's ambitious, and it's farmer-friendly. It is a pilot, based because of the fact that we're currently in a transition period between now and the new CAP kicking off in January 2023, and it does, between now and the end of next year, pay up to a maximum of €12,600. That's between now and 20 months' time on 10 hectares of land. We're expecting the average payment on those 10 hectares for farmers to bring in 10 hectares to be close to €5,000 for almost €5,000, which is significant in terms of income. And I specifically as well paid it on 10 hectares so that both smaller and larger farmers can benefit fully from the income that it actually generates, which is really important, particularly for smaller farmers, and also importantly to be able to make a contribution in terms of biodiversity and climate change ambition as well, so that everybody can contribute equally to that, whether they're a small or a large farmer too. The fact that it's 5 times oversubscribed, and we heard lots of criticism of the advance of the scheme being published, but not a peep of criticism since then, Deputy Naughton. The only criticism anybody's had since then is what I predicted at the outset would be that we would need to get and would want to have more than the scheme than pilot measure terms and conditions would allow. So it is 5 times oversubscribed. I would love to be able to accommodate everyone in it. I have written to the EU Commissioner and I'm engaging with them to see how we can accommodate more and to see if the potential is there for that, because I think it will contribute significantly to farm incomes and make it be a really important measure as well in relation to biodiversity and climate change. Thank you.
Minister, I'd like if you had responded to the question that I asked originally, but maybe in your supplementary you might come back to me and explain to me the exact sources of funding for this €10 million that was set out initially. Because as you know, the previous budget had allocated €3 million directly from the Minister for Finance. That leaves a balance of €7 million that has to be funded. Now, if you're going cap in hand to the Commission looking for permission, clearly some of that €7 million is coming from EU funding. So I want to know how much of the €23 million in carbon taxes that were provided to your department are actually going into this scheme as it is currently formulated.
Minister.
So, Deputy, overall there's €79 million for new agri-environmental measures this year. And out of that 79 million, as I said in my previous answer, €23 million is from the Carbon Tax Fund, as part of that €79 million. So overall, as you also know, there's a key programme for government commitment to introduce a new flagship agri-environmental scheme in the next CAP, which will start from January 2023. There's a clear commitment there in the programme for government that in funding that scheme there will be €1.5 billion from the carbon tax between now and 2050 to support that scheme as well. In the short term, in the transition period, we are constrained to doing pilot measures. We're not able to spend money on entire new schemes because they can't come in yet. I'm very heartened by the response to REAP. You're right, it does show the appetite among farmers for a scheme that is well structured, that can return in terms of income and allow them to deliver for the environment. And my key objective now is, in any way I can, to explore the opportunity to ensure as many as possible can be included in that actual scheme.
Minister, as you said, this pilot scheme, and it is a pilot scheme and I accept that, is one of the key initiatives within your department for 2021. You know, we have a greening of government and I welcome that. And this is a key strand of that, both the initial pilot and the further expansion of it. Now, clearly in the programme for government, there's a clear indication given that part of the carbon tax fund will go directly to Irish farmers. Now, I have asked you in a written question for reply here today, and I've asked you orally, and on both occasions you have refused to answer how much of the carbon tax is allocated to that 10 million fund under this environmental scheme, because €3 million had been allocated in the previous year directly from the Minister for Finance. You're gone cap in hand to the Commission looking for permission, which clearly indicates that part of this funding is coming directly from the European Commission.
Deputy.
So how much of the €23 million is going into this environmental pilot scheme?
Thank you. Minister to reply.
So, in terms of our rural development programme and our measures within that, we have to engage with the European Commission in terms of getting approval for schemes that are part of that. Also, in terms of state aid, which is important in relation to this, that comes within the rural development programme as well. So that's why I'm engaging with Europe and seeking permission to be able to accommodate additional farmers within the terms of the cap. There's out of the €79 million this year for additional new environmental measures, 23 million is coming from the carbon tax. And as you know, we can only spend so much of it this year and next year because we're in the transition period. The clear commitment in the programme for government is that there will be €1.5 billion of it up to 2030. The new flagship agri-environmental scheme will start in January 2023. So it's really positive that we have that commitment there in the programme for government in terms of that funding to help fund that and make it a really good and substantial scheme. So if there's less spent this year from the carbon tax fund, that €1.5 billion, then there will be later on. There's more out of that €1.5 billion to fund the scheme, the flagship agri-environmental scheme that will be there from 2023.
Thank you.